Hey gang, how are you again? It's nice to talk to you again on my Mixner's Corner video blog on YouTube. Uh, I want to talk to you today about a national memorial for those who have died of COVID. And one of the reasons I want to talk about it so soon is it's, I think, important for the families who have lost so much and so many to know that this nation will never forget those who have died in this worst pandemic in the history of our country. As you know, the death toll from this disease, this COVID, will surpass that of World War II, of World War One, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and we have big memorials to all of those. And I think, though, that as I come upon spring, I have an idea that I want to share with you and just see what you think and leave your comments. I would like to create a national memorial in a national memorial park in southern New Jersey, and I'll tell you why, Salem, Cumberland County area, and plant 6,000 cherry trees, one for every 1,000 people who had died of COVID. And if it goes higher than 600,000, then we can adjust accordingly. And one of the reasons I picked the cherry trees, one, they're so beautiful and they're used as a spiritual tree around the world. And it symbolizes a new beginning because every spring, as we come out of the darkness of winter and into the sunshine, the cherry trees bloom. And it's a new beginning and it's a new year. And we can move forward once we see those cherry trees bloom. And it also helps with climate change. It is not brick and mortar. It's not cold and uninviting. Now we'll need some acreage. And that's why I suggest Salem and Cumberland County in New Jersey, my old hometown, by the way, because there's the acreage to create that kind of national memorial park. And we could help pay for this by having organizations around the country do drives as students and schools to raise the money for their friends and family who have died of COVID. Plus, of course, as a national park, it would be governed and overseen by the National Parks Bureau. Now, why the location? Well, first of all, it is close to the National Pine Barrens Refuge in New Jersey, which is 1,700 square miles of barren rivers, trees, one of the largest in the country. It has hundreds of endangered plants and wildlife. It has big rivers suitable for canoeing. And I think we could hook it up so if a person can go and spend camping and canoeing and also go to the National Memorial. The second reason is, where do you put it? And Washington doesn't have that kind of space, which is usually the thing. But one of the hardest hit areas was New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland. And the nice part about it, families coming to the national capital can, within 2.5 hours, going up and taking the Lewis, Delaware ferry, be at the national park, and they can make a day of it or an all-night stay in facilities that hopefully would crop up to service that need. The other reason is that I think it would be wonderful working with the tri-state area of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York to create a bike path and a hiking trail from New York City down through the Pine Barrens to the National Memorial Park of 6,000 cherry trees. And I also think Philadelphia could join us in building a bike path from Philadelphia down to the National Memorial Park. It is important that we remember in a positive way what we've gone through. And often we wait way too long where those who've been most affected by this epidemic won't even know that we have remembered, and especially among seniors. It's for many of us, it was like we were dispensable in this pandemic, and this will reassure them that we will never forget their sacrifice for this country in this difficult and horrible time. The other reason is we should never forget, never ever forget why we have a large death toll, how many died, the lessons of this pandemic, the division at times. And in an interesting way, this brings us all together. For those who are left convinced about the pandemic, to those who have suffered enormous loss, it can bring us together who can oppose a memorial to those who have died. And it's a unifying factor to sort of put a period at the end of this pandemic as a nation. Now, I think that it's important to understand that it involves a lot of people. It involves the state of New Jersey and Philadelphia, New York. I think that it's Cumberland County is one of the poorer counties, and certainly the poorest county in New Jersey. It's an economic revitalization park. And the additional benefit, you go from the Pine Barrens down to the National Memorial Park, and then along the Delaware Bay is one of the largest migration of birds. So when birds migrate, they stop in the wetlands of southern New Jersey and Delaware. And there's just hundreds of thousands of birds who migrate and use those wetlands as a place to rest on their migration. So there's so many reasons that this is just perfect location. And I think it is so accessible by so many. You can fly into Philadelphia and you're an hour and a half away. You can go to Atlantic City, and you can even maybe have a bike trail to Atlantic City from extension, and you can go there. We would have to build facilities where people could stay. But there's in areas like Bridgeton and Salem that could use real revitalization very badly, and this would do it. In the park itself, we could have meditation areas, paved trails. Maybe each state could have a marker honoring their dead in the park. And I would suggest some sort of tower in the middle of the park that would stretch up high enough so that when the trees are mature, you can overlook all of the trees. And that would be the center of the park, and maybe with a flame at the top that never goes out. But that's up for the architects. I'm not an architect. I'm not a planner. But I can't think of a better way to memorialize those that we've lost than to plant 6,000 cherry trees, create a national park, a place of beauty, a place of new beginnings, a place built with love from the whole country. And I strongly urge anyone to talk about it, to discuss it. Architects and landscaping people, come up with some plans. Don't wait for someone to tell you what to do. I never have. If you wait for someone to tell you what to do and how to do it, you'll be lost forever with your creativity and your ideas. So take this idea. It's not well thought out, but it's been in the back of my mind for 2 months. And I thought, what the fuck? What the fuck? I'm just going to throw it out there to my friends and see what they think. Please do me a big favor. Subscribe on the subscription button. It's what indicates that this blog is being read. And second of all, please get vaccinated if you haven't been vaccinated. I'm sending you all lots of love in these times, and you be safe out there. Okay? Love you.